Greetings, friends, and mostly enemies. Hey, everyone. Sorry that the uploads have been super infrequent. There's been a lot of stuff going on with me personally, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Part of the reason that the uploads have been so infrequent is just that I've kind of hit a creative uh, dead end, shall we say, for my booktube content, my authortube content. I don't just want to make the same videos that every other authortuber makes, and I'm not reading as many books right now as I used to, uh, and so I don't have as much time to read books and pump out reviews. And like I said, I don't want to make generic booktube, authortube content. So I'm not saying anything for sure right now, but after I'm done reading The Garden of Lies, this channel might go largely inactive. I'm not going to say dead because I'll probably still make stuff and upload it occasionally. And especially once me and Cait end up in the same living situation together, um, I'll probably find it easier to produce higher quality literature content and get back to actually uploading to this channel regularly. But until then, after Garden is done, I think it'll be safe to say that this channel will be largely inactive. So I understand if you unsubscribe. I would ask you nicely that you don't. But if you do, I totally understand. And I wish you well on whatever pastures you go to if you do hit the unsub button. So that's that. And on to what we're actually here to do today with the Garden of Lies. I just want to say that once again, I want to once again remind everyone that I wrote this book based on a concept that I came up with my best friend before he passed. And I'm going to put some pictures of him up on screen right now and take a moment of silence in respect for my dearly departed best friend, Wes. Wes was a creative genius, especially where language was concerned. He had a gift for poetry and rap and storytelling that in some ways makes me look like an idiot. I miss him very much. And I can never thank him enough for helping me forge the world that has become everything to my life. The Garden Saga and the journey that I have gone on in my life because of writing that book, The Garden of Lies. My life kind of started when I started writing The Garden of Lies, in a way. And I may have written a book, but it wouldn't have been The Garden of Lies if not for Wes. I may have written a book, but it wouldn't have been The Garden of Lies. So, this chapter is dedicated to my dearly departed friend, Wesley. The Garden of Lies, Chapter 24. Dalj and Sinkotsu. This chapter is kind of sentimental too. Well,
Yeah.
they're all sentimental, but this one particularly.
Mm.
It's
Yes.
chapter 24, Caitlin.
Oh. Yes.
So, everyone, just for a little context,
Mm-hmm. Even though that's for pussies.
I've said it a bunch, and I'm going to say it again because it merits prefacing this chapter with this.
Yeah.
I wrote the concept for this book I came up with my best friend at the time. I say at the time because he's dead now. His name was Wes. And the man was like a brother to me for a long time. And we eventually started growing apart because life sucks. But me and him came up with the concept for Garden. And there's also a character in here that's directly based off him. Sinkotsu was his gamer tag, and it was also a character he wrote about, and Sinkotsu exists in this book. And in a very real way, Sinkotsu is now Wes's only living legacy. So, this one's for you, Wes. The Garden of Lies, Chapter 24, Dalj and Sinkotsu. When I wake up, I feel well rested, and the goose egg on my head is already mostly gone. Wish my shoulder was coming along that quick. I give it a wiggle as I sit up. It does seem to have more range of motion today, at least. I set my foot on the floor and chug down some of the water I keep on my nightstand. When I'm grabbing my water, I can't help but see Angel's pillow. I grab it and smell it. I wish she were here. I hope she's safe with Rendas and Roxy. Breakfast in this inn is becoming a morning ritual with my large group of friends. I find it comforting as it feels a little like waking up and eating with Mom and Dad used to. Only they would obviously be my siblings, if I had any. I feel a strange itch in the back of my head when that thought crosses my mind. Wonder if I subconsciously wish I had siblings. Growing up with Pogs was what I basically imagined having a brother would be like. I wonder what a sister would have been like. The more I think about it, the more I'm positive she would have just driven me nuts. You know, more nuts than I am. Breakfast wraps up, and I get the caravan moving. On the walk into town, storm clouds can be seen in the distance. They must have rolled in during the night. I notice Tenna is just as close with Amnes today, despite our talk. Attachment might not be her thing, but she clearly has feelings for my pointy-eared friend. At least I think she does. Sin seems quiet today, and about halfway into town he waves me over and we break away from the group a bit. I see him pull something from a pouch, and he looks between it and my face a few times. Then he holds out his hand. He's offering me the sapphire stone jester I picked for him when we saved the traitor. I quirk an eyebrow and hold out my hand. What's this for? It matches your eyes, man. Give it to your pet redhead or something. I smile a bit at that. My pet redhead. You mean Angel? I ask. Nah, I mean Amnes. Course, Angel. Dumbass. Amnes is obviously mine. I can't help but bark a laugh out at that. Thanks. She'll love it. We walk along for a while. Silence a rare thing between us. I ponder my life, as is my habit from time to time, when an amusing thought strikes me. We're something of a surreal juxtaposition, you and I say to my friend. What do you mean? He asks. The wolf and the panther, one named after the jester god, one named after the masked god. I'm from the far north, you're from the far south. I was raised by a benevolent shaman. You just find we have a lot of paralleling opposites. He shrugs his shoulders. Yeah, guess friends like us are rare as ripjacks. I laugh a bit at that. Not quite that rare. Ripjacks are a myth. Yeah, I heard people from up north believe that, he says dismissively. I read his tone. Sometimes it can be hard to tell with this guy, but I think he's serious. Wait, you're telling me ripjacks are real? I honestly don't want to believe it. Go to a town called Septum Aquum in southern feline territory. Ask them if ripjacks are real, he says. Almost irritated, I dare question him on the matter. The thought of ripjacks being real is horrifying to say the least. The story goes that ripjacks are the tortured souls of heretics and evil men who betrayed Magnatoris. So their souls were put into the bodies of ripjaws, and the two pieces made something much more wicked and dangerous than the sum of its parts. We arrive in the arena, and people are starting to get into the routine of the whole thing. It doesn't take long for those gathered to be seated and the speaker to begin today's event. Good morning to you all. Continuing right along with testing your prowess in combat. Today, we hold another series of conflicts. We will be holding single combat in a tournament-style bracket. Obviously, to save time, we will have many of you fighting at once. There will be no rest between fights. We must see how you all perform in the long haul. I will say for those of you who do not specialize in combat, fear not. This is the last day of pure combat testing. Now, without further ceremony, let us begin. He begins calling names to the slab. My name doesn't take long to show up. Sin is the only other person I know in the initial bracket. I wonder where we both ended up. I've seen him move in a fight. I don't want to try to fight him. I'm no coward, but wisdom is the better part of valor, and Sin moves like lightning. The shaman places me in the southeast corner of the slab. I notice they place Sin in the opposite corner. I hope that means he's clear on the other side of the bracket. The shaman takes some time getting everyone matched up and making sure every fight will have at least two shaman watching it. Then they have a brief meeting amongst themselves, center slab. And we begin. My first opponent is a lizard from the desert. He's a small one. Dagger and buckler his weapons of choice. Poor some bitch doesn't have a prayer against the reach of my longswords. I draw my black pommeled blade. It occurs to me I haven't named my swords. Our matches begin with a word from our officiary. While his slippery knife fighting moves kept me in the fight longer than I would have guessed, our fight is still a short affair, much like the little lizard himself. Minute and a half, if I counted right. Using my longsword to swat that little dagger out of his hand was more of a game than a fight. Next, an avian takes stance in front of me. They're allowed to take flight if they choose before the fight begins. He does. I notice he is wearing strange shoes that... No, those are his feet. This bird has literal talons on his toes. And they look vicious, too. Our fight consists of him attacking from the air, swooping with those cruel talons. But his attacks have the one major drawback of being entirely too predictable. I sheathe my blade. When he comes down for another swipe at me, I club at him with my sheathed sword. He falls like a sack of bricks. I lean over him as he groans on the ground. I'm a wolf, not a rabbit. Try your swooping talon nonsense somewhere else, I advise him. I could bore you with the details of the next 47. Yes, the next 40 fucking 7 fights. But endurance was always my strong suit. While it seems the same cannot be said for many of my peers, as the competition drags on, they start getting easier and easier to fight. For some, I use my sword. A few I shift to fight for various reasons. Notably, one had the nads to challenge me to feral combat, another name we use for unarmed, shifted fighting. His bite was adequate to back up his bark, but not adequate to beat me. I get lost in the process of it all. Occasionally, we do get a brief rest while the shaman consult the scrolls they are keeping the event records on, set up matches, etc. Here's good luck. By the way, are you single? Thank you for the compliment, Soy Boy, but unfortunately, I am spoken for.
Yep, this one's bad.
I get lost in the do. Around fight 40, spring storm clouds start rolling in over the arena. I'm nothing short of ecstatic when a mild rain begins showering us, washing away sweat and blood. The slab is starting to look awful empty. Unsurprisingly, Sin is hanging tough. The both of us have managed to collect a fair bit of superficial damage. But if he has any serious injury, he is not letting it show. I'm slightly surprised and thankful my shoulder remains my only major hindrance. With a swing of my blade, I all but amputate this war dog's arm at the shoulder, closing my 49th fight. I apologize to him as he limps off to hopefully have his arm saved. I feel bad, but what do they expect? Even a master's blade control gets sloppy hours into the fighting. I do not even bother rubbernecking to see who my final opponent is. There's a certain surety in my nerves, a feeling of inevitability. When I turn and see Sin approaching the center of the arena for our fight, I know it was always going to end this way. There's a certain romance to the moment as I sheath my sword and make my approach. I can't help but lend this fight more significance than those before it. I tune into this moment as if my senses sharpen. The energy of the moment leaves my body and rushes back in. In great flowing waves, I feel my heart speed up and then slow down. The bitterness of the wind carrying rain. The furious bite of the sun when it breaks through the clouds. The frenzied miasma of air currents. The mist on the ground made by millions of raindrops crashing upon it. All of it is crystal clear in my mind. I feel more awake than ever, as if my life has been a dream, and only now, when I face my friend, have I finally awakened. I can't help but believe in a fate at moments like this. I just want to share with you guys that I originally came up with a good chunk of those prose when I was asked to describe temperature without using words that describe temperature.
Wow. Oh.
Are you reading my autobiography? Actually, technically speaking, I'm reading mine, but sorry. Fucking dogs.
It's okay.
The shaman waits until I am near the shaman waits until I am near, then announces, "For the glory of the Creator God, state your names, exemplary warriors of your nations. Mad Wolf, Dire Wolf, Dalj Thorn of Three Fang, Saber-tooth Sinkotsu. For the glory of your God and your nations, fight with honor, Dalj and Sinkotsu." Also, I feel compelled to share this little bit of the history between me and Wes and why it's Dalj and Sinkotsu and not Sinkotsu and Dalj. Early on in our friendship, we had a pissing contest about whose name would come first when you said them together.
Mm-hmm.
And we used rock, paper, scissors to settle things in our friendship. That was out of the hundreds and out of the thousands of rock, paper, scissors games me and him played. That was one of the handful that I won. Anyways, Sinkotsu wears light leather armor dyed in reds and blacks. I wear my armored kilt from Gendir and a heavy leather shirt. I have my swords and my knife. Sinkotsu favors the katana as his weapon. It's long for a katana. He has just as much reach as I do. We face each other, weapons sheathed. The crowd and the shaman wait, unsure of what we are doing. We both knew it would come to this, didn't we? He shrugs his shoulders. You're always so dramatic, man. It's a dramatic moment, Sin, I say with calm resignation. He looks into the sky, then around the arena. For a moment, I think he's coming to agree with me, beginning to see the poetry of the moment. But then he looks at me and says, "This is just day 3, Dalj." And then he lunges at me with a quick draw technique. I can't get my sword out in time to block. I have to jump to the side into a roll and rise to my feet. Even with my quick dodge, he cut a long, shallow gash into my right arm as I dodged to the left. My swords are in my hands before I'm fully standing. I need both. I have to suffer through the shoulder ache and fight at full tilt if I'm going to have a prayer of countering his crazy speed. I barely get my guard up before Sin moves to attack again. I hear his feet pat through the water more than I see him. He is so damn fast. How can he still move like that after all this fighting? He attacks from the left and I immediately start giving ground. I occasionally get off a counter or a parry attack combo, but he glides through space as if he was never there. I focus on my breathing, on making sure I don't tire. Outlasting him is probably my only shot. His blade work is every bit as good as mine. We dance for seconds. We dance for eons. Time ceases to mean anything as sparks fly from our blades, only to die quick deaths in the ever-thickening rain. We go on and on, each of us occasionally scoring a nick or a cut, but nothing even remotely decisive. He favors slashing attacks, which matches his weapon perfectly. They do say the katana is forgiving in the cut, but Sin's form needs no forgiveness. I manage to circle as I give ground to avoid being backed to an edge. I can tell Sin was trying to hurt me, but my two blades allow me the control where he attacks from. So we circle many times as we grow bloodier and wearier. Then, all at once, the paradigm changes. It proves to be I who slips up first. I step back to continue giving ground, but in my exhaustion, I have lost fine control. My foot goes back a bit too far, and I slip on the wet concrete. My guard falters, and Sin's thrust finds a home. He puts a sword through my left kidney. That's my favorite kidney! Yuck! I sputter as I feel the blade exit my back. Sin's face has shock written all over it. He clearly did not mean to impale me. He thought I would continue defending. But suddenly I don't give a damn what he did or did not intend to do. This asshole just impaled me. I'm gonna kill him. He begins to slowly pull the blade out. He is clearly not ready when my clawed hands drop my swords, then shoot forth and seize his wrist. Need to fix that. Hang on. Sorry.
Whoops.
I pull his arm, and the sword slides into me to the hilt. I see what I think is fear in his eyes for the first time since I have known him. I shift, fast, maybe faster than I have ever before, and then I rake my claws across his chest, leaving deep furrows that instantly start to gush blood. He screams in pain. I would rake again, but my attack has prompted him into action. He jump kicks off my chest and performs a backflip, kicking my muzzle hard on his way around. I reflexively loosen my grip as I retreat from the thing hitting my face. Between the flip and my stumbling back, there are a few feet between us. I yank his sword out. I feel the pain, but it doesn't seem to matter much. This is different than being in the mountain. The pain just makes me angrier. How dare he hurt me? He presumes to impale me? There won't be enough to stitch together when I am done. I violently chuck his sword at him. He doesn't even try to catch it, instead dodging to the side as he makes the change. I howl in primal challenge. I guess I've gotten him into the spirit of it, because he looses his own feline roar. And then we charge and collide in a tumbling frenzy of fangs and claws. Everything happens too fast for my eyes to track. I rely more on my sense of touch and kinetic senses while we tumble and scruffle over the ground. Now, the blood really starts to flow. It's not long before our blood and the rain has created a sanguine pool for us to wallow in. Finally, I manage to sink my teeth into his left arm, sufficient that he can't get it back out. I try to clamp down and break bones. I am either too tired or his bones are too strong. I draw plenty of blood, but no matter how I shake the arm around, I can't get the bones to snap. I let go when he adjusts his position to claw me to shreds. I back up and put some distance between us. I begin circling, the smell of blood everywhere. My lip twitches, showing my fangs. Sin is calmly poised to strike, as felines are known for. My rage prompts me forth after I catch a breath, and I begin slashing with my claws. He is skilled in feral combat. He blocks and dodges expertly. But when both parties have claws, even blocked attacks are apt to cause damage. I feel myself getting angrier by the second. Why can't I kill him? Why won't he die? I raise a claw into the air and bring it down in a swipe that could cleave a small human in two. It's too telegraphed and proves to be my undoing. Sin catches my wrist, hand chops my throat, and then my groin. My arm goes slack, and he releases my wrist. I instantly grasp my throat and jewels as I desperately grasp for air. Gasp. Then, Sin jumps into the air and delivers a flying roundhouse kick to the side of my head. I collapse like a sack of wet laundry, but I am so enraged I can't comprehend the meaning of the word stop. I get an arm under me to stand, still gasping for air, when a shaman steps between us. Cease, warriors! The match has been called. Sinkotsu wins. Like hell, Sinkotsu wins. I'll kill both these assholes. As soon as my body starts doing what I tell it to. I try to exhale, but instead I vomit blood. Still, I try to rise. Dalj Thorn! Cease! Immediately! I'm growling as I struggle, first to a knee, then to my feet. Only a couple feet to the shaman. I'll rip his guts out and shove them down Sinkotsu's throat. And then, all of a sudden, I feel as if I am standing on water. My legs buckle, and I begin to fall. I don't even remember hitting the ground. When I wake up, I am lying inside the med tent. I'm practically fully clothed in bandages alone. I look around and see Sin is lying on a cot next to me. I feel a pang of guilt as I realize I was actually trying to kill my friend at the end. I told you your rage is still an issue. Yeah, I got it. Thanks, Chaos. Maybe I can have a doctor drill him out of my head. Lobotomization will not work. Others have tried. Oh, well, that's fun. I clear my throat and try to get my arid mouth to generate some spit. Hey, Sin. He turns his head. Oh, hey, man. He doesn't sound even remotely upset. You okay? I ask him. We both are. Shaman healed the worst of it on both of us. Said they had to or we'd die. Crazy ass fight. Yeah. But I won when I impaled you. Should have known you would have faint from blood loss sooner or later, dumbass. I'm incredulous. I just have to ask him. So, you're not... Nah, I'm not mad. You wanted to win. I respect that. We both gave it everything. That's how it should be. I smile and tears well in my eyes. I'm so happy. I look away to hide my tears, and I decide to scan for my swords. I find them in a barrel near the tent entrance. A shaman walks over to us and hands each of us a water skin. In accordance with the rules, we only heal the two of you enough to avoid death. So proceed as if your injuries can kill you. Because they might. Lots of water and food today. You can fuse flesh to your bodies, but bodies still have to make new blood. I nod. Sinkotsu grunts affirmative, and we both chug from our water skins. They shoo us out of our beds when the next bracket ends about an hour later. Not sure how long I was out for. When we return to where we like to sit, only Myrrh and Kira are there. They inform us the rest of the pack is in the current bracket. Oh, my poor gammas. They don't have a prayer against Pogs and Amnes. Stir and Class don't do that bad. But the way the bracket works out, they end up losing before they ever see my other friends. Amnes comes pretty close to the top of the bracket, but exhaustion finally claims her in her 45th fight. Pogs only beats her by one match. But something tells me he didn't give it 100%. Not really. As it turns out, that proves to be the last group. I must have been out for a while. My friends can't shut up about how crazy I went in my fight. They say it was like watching two legends fight. I just wish my kidney didn't hurt so damn much. Walking feels like dying. How am I going to move through the rest of the trial like this? Maybe I can cheat and find a private healer to at least finish patching up my kidney. The shaman, who has been acting as the announcer, takes center stage. Well done, one and all. Today, we witness some truly magnificent feats of skill and determination. I am confident those gathered here represent a fine generation of warriors. As promised, today is the last day of strict combat testing and our last day here at the slab. Tomorrow, you will gather outside the small forest, due west of outside, heading straight into the rising sun. You cannot miss it. I and the other proctors will be set up there waiting for you. Do not be late. It is grounds for disqualification. Our next trial is in the woods, huh? That gets my imagination running. Or it would, if I wasn't half sure I'm dying of internal bleeding. With the help of Pogs, I managed to limp out of the arena. Normally, we would all go celebrate, but none of us feel up to the idea of drunken shenanigans. Today has proven the most brutal so far. We all want to go back to the inn and lounge around, eating and drinking in comfort. I tell everyone else to go ahead without me. And once I'm up all the steps, I can manage without Pogs. I practically have to swat him and Kira off to get them to listen. But finally, my group lets me go to run my errand in peace. I take my sweet time limping through outside to Willow's stable. I have to stop 3 times to empty. It's mostly blood the first 2, and the last isn't exactly short on blood either. When I arrive, the massive barn door is closed. I knock and shout out my name, loud as my insides let me. Willow only takes a few minutes to open up. Ah, what can I do for you? Need my horse and my wagon for tomorrow. I'll have 'em back sometime late tomorrow evening, most likely. She nods and turns to make it happen. I follow her in through the cracked door. I go straight to Goliath. When I arrive, I instantly notice a difference in his manner. I don't know horses like I do dogs, but if I had to guess, I would say he's happy to see me. He brushes into my hand when I extend it and brushes against the gate lightly. I stroke the massive face of my cloven titan. Willow approaches me. What did you do? He's a different horse, I ask, hoping it was nothing too extreme. Whatever it was, it couldn't have been too bad. Willow doesn't seem weary of her. Women's touch is all. Well, that and a few herbs. You drugged my horse? She scoffs at the word drugged. Don't be such a ninny. Just some soothing herbs to make him more inclined to accept training. Give your kids the same herbs when they go to sleep. Perfectly safe. The way she says it makes me sure she's done it. But I guess as long as he's unharmed, it really doesn't matter what her method was. So he's docile now. He's non-violent now. You want docility towards the general public? Give me a few more weeks. Nah, non-violent is all I need. She smiles at that and nods. Breeding come off with any luck? I ask her. Matter of fact, yes. Stud couldn't wait for it. 3 mares in 3 days. Should get a foal out of at least one of them, I say. Unless your boy is shooting blanks. She laughs a little at the last part. I think there's a joke I'm not privy to at play. Right. Yeah, that would be a problem. My wagon ready? She helps me get Goliath all hooked up and ready. She's also nice enough to help my broken self into the saddle. She asks I pay her what I owe her so far in case I don't return. I don't see why not. I ride through town at a gentle pace, too fast and my side starts to burn like the sun. Goliath rides better now, takes direction better. I could not be happier I stumbled upon Willow. My grateful reflection is cut short, however, when up ahead, on the road out to the green field, I spot Roxy and Rendis. I pull up next to them, and they grab onto the side of my wagon. Keep going, Roxy says. I know something is wrong, but I comply for the moment. I don't think they are my enemies, and even if they are, I don't have a prayer in a fight right now. We trot along for a while, and once the noise and image of the town is far off and we are alone between outside and the inn, they direct me to stop, and I pull the wagon off the road so we can talk. When we stop, Roxy instantly starts going through my wagon. Hey, whoa, what the hell? It's not just my shit in there. Privacy is a thing, I protest. Angel is missing, Rendas says, stepping in my path to the wagon. The declaration hits me like a kick from a carapane. I spend a few seconds just digesting those words. Come again? I finally manage. Angel is missing. We are worried you lost control. The implied accusation offends me to the core, and even in my heavily damaged state, I grab Ren by the collar of his robe. I would never hurt her, I declare in a voice of Novlum steel. Like you didn't hurt her in the archive. Oh, excuse me. Like you didn't hurt her in the archive? Roxy calls out. Sometimes I forget who's talking.
Be like, she was doing an impression.
She was doing an impression of Ren. I release Ren and turn to the wagon. You know that wasn't me. It was your body, however. Oh, wait, and this is Ren. It was your... Shut up, Caitlin. It was your body, however. And Dalj, you know how important the information she has is. We must find out where she is. Every possibility must be investigated. I nod. I tell him the gist of my interactions with Angel since he last saw her. He listens patiently and remains calm throughout. Roxy could learn a thing or two. I believe you, he says with finality when I finish. That's it? You just believe me? I am skeptical. Shamans usually aren't so direct. Engiel excluded. Or included. Correct. How can you be so sure without dreamsmithing me? There is much more to finding truth than reading minds, he answers. There's that shaman mysticism I'm used to. Nothing, Ren, Roxy calls. She almost sounds disappointed. Where else have you checked? I don't want to waste time looking where you have, I say. We cannot allow you to search for her, Ren says. Like hell. Allow me or not, I am. She's my woman, and I'm going to find her. He quirks an eyebrow at the declaration, Angel is mine. Still, he holds his ground. Dalj, I admire your spirit, but think, boy. If you are seen searching the town, it may raise suspicion. You are still being monitored by those elements of the council that have already tried to kill you. They will not hesitate to expunge you or anyone else they suspect of involvement with the Forgotten. But you two are free and clear to parade around willy-nilly? The council thinks I have been dead for years, and has no idea who Roxy is. We can move with a surprising amount of freedom. Yes. That information piques my curiosity, but I file it away for later. Angel is what matters now. And as much as I hate it, he's right. If the Grand Council's spies see me parading around solo looking for Angel, it would be bad. I would risk involving my friends. I can't do that. Okay, I'll do it your way for now. But the second you have news, you tell me. I can agree to those terms. I'll be in contact. He holds out his hand. I look at it, a little weary of him and his secrets. But I clasp his wrist, and we shake nonetheless. The Garden of Lies, Chapter 24. Dalj and Sinkotsu. 25, 26, 27. All that's left.
Oh boy. Oh golly, oh geez.
Oh boy, oh golly, oh geez.
We're almost done.
I will tell you, the next chapter, guys, is one of my favorite in the whole book because of how much fun I had writing it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had a blast writing this next chapter, Caitlin. It was... The next chapter, Unload the Traps.
Yeah.
I was basically having, like... I was playing a little game with myself in my head.
Uh-huh.
Like, how far can I push Dalj's antics without turning the audience against him?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure you see what I mean.
Yes. Yeah. Which I think is a very interesting dynamic to play with when it comes to, well, doing anything in a story, because there's that line that you have to ride. It's so tedious.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, have I bought enough good faith from my readers up to this point that they're not going to just be like, I hate you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, can I spit in my audience's eyes and have them say, yes, Daddy, more?
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Alrighty. All right, guys. I think what I'm going to do, we're going to raid out.